10 CEO Hamish McLennan's targeting an older demographic as the broadcaster attempts to improve ratings and claw back market share. The new chief, who's been in the job just over 2 months, has been speaking about the new strategy at this week's launch of the network's big hit MasterChef, which is launching its 5th season. Well, James Manning, our co-host, was there. James, a pretty glamorous affair, I'd imagine?
Yeah, it was good. It was good getting inside the MasterChef kitchen, although they have used it previously for, I think, MasterChef professionals. This was the first time they had a launch function there. They did launch last year in Melbourne, but it was elsewhere in a little function space. So it was good getting there and having a look around. Just
turning to this, I mean, you spoke to the CEO, Hamish McLennan there. What does 10 need from this series of MasterChef to, really boost performance?
Yeah, look, they really need it to try and hopefully do as well as it did last year. Bit better would be nice. Look, most people expecting it could be a little bit under because it's year 5. Maybe there's a little bit of people tiring. They're very careful to talk about how they'd freshened up the format. Look, so they just need it to do well to help lift their overall audience share. They need it to do well to showcase the rest of the schedule because there's not a lot of other programs on 10 that are bringing in viewers that might have sort of left them for the other networks. They need to get some of those viewers back, and they need it to satisfy the sponsors who've tipped in the dollars for this series.
All right, and you spoke to 10 CEO Hamish McLennan about that, and of course this new strategy of targeting an older demographic. Here's that interview that James did with Hamish.
Yeah, that's true. We've said that we're 25 to 54-year-old focused with young at heart as our sort of psychographic overlay to the audience. Yeah,
most people probably wouldn't think that be maybe much of a dramatic change. Will it mean, different programming strategy?
Look, it is, yes it will, and it is a leap for us. I mean, the very fact is that our traditional demographic of 16 to 39 and 18 to 49 in more recent times with the younger skew is the most fragmented sort of media audience around at the moment. So 25 to 54-year-olds have more stable viewership. It's where all the advertising dollars are attracted, and it's also the largest audience that's out there.
Sure. Now, we're here tonight to celebrate a new season of MasterChef. Yeah. I'm guessing that fits pretty well in that 25-54?
It does. At its peak, MasterChef has always appealed to that demographic, collects a lot of housewives with young children as well, which is a very affluent sort of demographic that we want to go after. It's event TV. It invented that style of programming, and it's a very exciting night tonight.
There's a lot of expectations, I guess, on the show this year, and ultimately you'd like to do a few things for you, bring in some viewers, help promote the rest of the schedule, as well as please the advertisers and the sponsors.
That's true, you can never have enough ratings, but look, we're feeling very excited about tonight. It's a great show, beautifully produced by Shine and our team at 10, and we've got high hopes for it.
There's a little bit of you were talking about in the media this week the board support for this sort of new strategy. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How's the board been? Because they've been under a bit of pressure, haven't they, this year? With
Look, nothing but supportive. I mean, we presented a case that was data-driven, very statistically based. It all made sense. They acknowledged that what was deployed last year wasn't really working, and they've embraced it fully, and we feel very confident about the future and where we're going.
And James, you also spoke to Hamish McLennan too about the cricket rights. Obviously 10 launching this, reported $500 million bid for the next 5 years, which is well above what's currently paid for them by 9. What did he have to say about that? Is it sort of
trying to get a take on how confident he was, if he had a sort of gut feel that they might win them. He wasn't giving a lot away. He's pretty confident. It's just interesting how this has developed into how serious it's getting for 9 with the idea, look, for them to make a bid, they really need to buy Adelaide and Perth stations. The reasoning being, okay, the cost savings they'd make as a network it would be cheaper to run them than what Bruce Gordon was running them, so the potential savings could make up the difference, and it's all very confusing. But it just shows you that Nine's getting pretty serious about trying to mount a bid to keep those rights.
And we'll know in the next few weeks, as
I think we'll know pretty soon.
Said. Let's return to MasterChef, because you also spoke to one of the judges, George Calombaris, and asked him whether he'd had a chance to have a rest between the series.
No. Rest. Well, that's an interesting. I mean, we had a lovely little break away from the show, which was nice, especially Gary and I, who didn't participate in professionals. But well rested, busy still with 7 restaurants, 350 odd staff. There's never a dull moment.
Sure. Did you get to watch much of the professionals,
Yes,
and what did you think?
every bit of it, you
Oh,
know,
really?
because I can relate to it. I think that's why I loved it so much, you know, as a chef, as someone that loves the industry, I loved it.
Yeah. Was there ever a moment where you thought, gee, I wouldn't mind being involved in this?
No, not really, because, you know, for me it was a busy time, the birth of my second child, and, you know, there was a lot going on. So, you know, it was nice to be sitting on my couch with a pot of tea in front of me, watching it all unfold. Yeah, it was great.
How creatively do you and the judges get involved in the series?
Big time, especially now with, you know, I think 10 series in total, 5 major series, you know, we get involved a lot because our names are on the cover, you know, so we take it very seriously to make sure that it is the best cooking show in the world, and we've proven that. I mean, forget the ratings of 1, 2 and 3. Let's talk about that. You know, it's touching the hearts of, you know, over 50 odd countries. You know, I was just recently in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, South Africa, India, Jakarta, and, you know, there you have it. You know, they're going nuts for it over there, and that's what's lovely about our show.
Does the Australian series get screened in many other markets? Do
Well, that's
do you
it. They're
find
the
yourself
ones.
identified in the street?
Totally. I mean, you know, we're dubbed in Arabic, we're dubbed in, you know, Polish, German, you know, Greek. It's just amazing, and you know, you. That's when it's sort of, you know, it's lovely being noticed here in Australia, in your hometown. But when you're OS and, you know, you get pulled over and someone comes and says how much they love the show, it means a lot, because it's our little show down under that's really changing the face of the way people appreciate food.
Very successful format now. Is it always a bit of a tightrope walk between keeping the best elements and then maybe freshening it up a bit?
Yeah,
with change?
100%. I think that's what we've done in Series 5. We've taken all the great elements of MasterChef, and there's been lots of them, and you know, made them better. You know, the show's got a lot of twists and turns this year. We now have masterclass on a Thursday night in front of a live audience, which is great, which is a lot more energy in it. You know, and the show's now sort of segmented into weeks where they're themed, you know. So first week, you know, girls versus boys. Second week, which I can't remember, but there was things like Italian week, kids week, fast food week, and throughout that, some political statements, some things that we're going to hang our hat on and go, you know what, guys and girls at home, what do we think about palm oil? Do we agree? No, we don't agree. I don't agree. As an ambassador of the zoo, I don't agree with it. It does some bad things to the forest, and I don't want us to use it anymore. So, you know, and that's what MasterChef has done throughout its series. It's been a talking point. You pass a construction site, and there's 2 burly blokes with their helmets on talking about Crockenbush. You go to a primary school, and kids are talking about plating up. So, it's great. Let's do it again.
And George Calambara's looking great there, really trim.
Yeah, look, one of the talks of the night was how good he looks, you know.
Yeah.
And he's a fantastically successful businessman as well. 7 restaurants, 350 staff, and he still manages to do MasterChef.
Yeah, a lot going on. A lot going on too for the executive producer as well, Margie Bashfield, that you also spoke to on the night. And you began by asking her about the starting off of the show on the boys versus girls theme. Here's what she had to say.
Yeah, well, that starts at the beginning of the series, and then we get into what we call themed weeks. So every week we'll have a different theme. It's the boys versus the girls, it's the Barossa boot camp, we have kids week, we have Italian week, and the idea of that is that we theme these weeks and we give some direction around the week so that the audience knows what the theme is. They also know that if they don't watch that week, then they're not going to get another chance to see that. So obviously we've done it deliberately to try and encourage people to have to watch every single episode.
Is that one of the things you've done, is try and refresh the brand a little bit as you go into a new season?
Yeah, every year we refresh the brand. You know, every year we look at what we can do to be a little bit different to the past without giving away what has been, you know, close to people's hearts in the past. So we're always looking at what we can do to make it must-watch TV without throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Always seems a big favourite for the viewers is when the show travels. So we're going to see much travel, both sort of domestically around Australia, and do you get away overseas too?
Can't say too much at this stage, we're still filming, but I can tell you that I think we've travelled more this series than we have in the past.
Okay,
Yeah.
So sort of give us any clues, what parts of Australia?
We've been to South Australia, went to the
Okay.
beautiful Barossa, which was fantastic, caught up with Maggie Beer there, did our boot camp there where the contestants were put through their paces, and then we went over to Western Australia, which was fantastic. We got them out on fishing trawlers, into a real working farm, into a proper, into a commercial restaurant. So they're just a little taster for what's coming.
How have you gone with the casting this year? You're pretty happy with the contestants?
Yeah, we are. We're really happy with the contestants. They're a very relatable group of people. I think that when the audience watches the show, they will be able to see a little bit of themselves in there. You know, they are the family cook. They are the person that's got the dream, and they're really brave. You know, they're putting themselves out there, you know, in front of all of Australia to try and prove that they can cook and that they can go forth and make it happen.
You bring in a lot of guest celebrity chefs. Are there any newcomers this year that you think are going to be particularly popular?
Look, we played with Stefano from Mildura in Professionals. We've asked him to come back. We've actually often we invite people who've been involved before, but there are some people who are new to the program. We've got the wonderful guys from Luxbite who have put together a cake that they designed specifically for us, which is amazing.
Okay. As we talk tonight on the sort of launch, a couple of days before it goes to air, how far are you actually into filming this season?
We've just finished filming week 8.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just over halfway.
You're always a bit reluctant to go too many details about how many apps, but you think it'll be a bit more, a bit less this year than we had last year?
Overall, for the year, it will be the same.
Okay.
Yeah. But obviously we make a lot of we make the main series and we also make the professionals, but there's, you know, we've made a full contingent of the program for the year.
Coming up on Media Week, the TV ratings and Eddie Maguire in hot water over his Adam Goodsgaff.